kids will be able to find a job and raise a family right here in Vermont. Howard Dean and Dave Walk, an effective team for Vermont's future.
People's Court, weekdays at 5:30 on WVNY TV.
Start the second half at RFK Stadium in Washington as Lohmiller puts the ball in the air. Redskins up by 21. It's taken at the 4-yard line by Arthur Marshall. And he returns it to the 21-yard line. And John Elway and his team down by 3 touchdowns. Begin the second half at that spot. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Intel, the computer inside. And by Budweiser, the king of beers with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. First down, Denver at the 21-yard line. Gaston Green on one of the few running plays that has worked well tonight for Denver. Al Boyd Mays with the tackle after a pickup of 7. And the numbers through the first half will certainly reflect the Redskins' dominance. Almost 4-1 in total yardage.
Yeah, not much to add to that. Not much to add to that. 227 total yards to 65. The Broncos with a pair of turnovers that have led to 7 of the Redskins' 24 points.
And it doesn't say how many times John Elway has been smashed to the turf.
Second and 3 at the 28-yard line, and they give it to Green again, and he can't get started because Kurt Gouveia and Fred Stokes are there to tackle him behind the line of scrimmage.
This is a major whipping at the line of scrimmage. And again, the Redskins, as we have talked about throughout the evening, playing hurt tonight. Gouveia is playing out tonight's game with a very sore ankle. Shea has gone out with a knee sprain. They've had to make further adjustments to their offensive line, but they are totally dominating Denver, even with all the nicks.
Third down and 4 at the 27-yard line. Elway escapes, throws, and it's incomplete up at the 34-yard line, intended for Arthur Marshall.
I mean, that's a miracle that John Elway got out of that. 4 down linemen, and then both inside linebackers came on the blitz. And John Elway spins away from 2 people. But, Frank, you touched on it as we look at that Denver offensive line leave the field. They are not holding their own.
And a huge understatement. Well, they're lining Wilbur Marshall up against Russell Freeman, the rookie free agent, over to the left side, and he is catching a cold from him.
Horan's punt in the direction of Brian Mitchell, and Mitchell makes the fair catch at the 28-yard line. That's a 45-yard boot. 13:34 left in the third quarter. It's been a huge night for Wilbur Marshall. Redskins with a victory tonight would be 3-2. As you look at Rippon's numbers, there was a flag down, by the way, on the last play. Gordon McCarter discussing the option with Terry Orr, clearly indicating the penalty is going to be against Denver.
While we watched the feature on Art Monk, plus heard from Deion Sanders, John Riggins was receiving his Hall of Fame ring down on the field.
Ineligible lineman downfield, the center, 5-yard penalty, repeat 4th down.
Dave Wydell.
There's John Riggins' name, who is encircled here at RFK along with a lot of other greats, and a good look there at that Hall of Fame ring. Elected and enshrined in 1992. We were there back in Canton, Ohio to see Riggo go in.
He enjoyed his day, didn't he?
Boy, didn't he?
Yeah, he sure did.
All 3 days.
Curled my eyelashes at the interview.
Enlightened us in the booth with some old-fashioned Riggo colloquialism.
Good thing we were on 7-second delay. Horan's kick is a poor one after Washington accepts the penalty. It rolls dead at the 43-yard line. And that's a 35-yard boot by Horan. So Dan Reeves watching his team getting pummeled tonight. 24-3. If the Broncos lose it, they are back in a tie for first place in the AFC West along with Kansas City after the Chiefs win yesterday against Philadelphia. Each would be 4-2. Reeves, like Gibbs, in his 12th season as the head man.
And when you talk about a list that would include the 5 best teams in the National Football League, I think we're to the point where you have to include the Kansas City Chiefs in that list.
In our preseason game, we talked about what a different football team that was going to be with quarterback Dave Craig.
Viner picked up 3. Tackled by Mecklenburg. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
Well, this is after the last punt. These guys are coming at each other from all directions. That's Dave Weidel of the Denver Broncos, who deposits Terry Orr. He's bragging about it now to a kicker. That's good, Dave. That's the only audience he can get.
Lilo Lang wasn't there to listen.
2nd and 7. That's Monk in motion. And Rippon airing it out to the double team Clark, and that's broken up by Atwater. Atwater and Henderson both there working on Gary Clark. 3rd down.
And one of the rare times tonight, some pressure put on Mark Rippon. Greg Cragen, the very good nose guard of the Broncos. See the spin there in the middle? He'll get in and put some pressure. But these are long patterns. These take a long time to develop. And when you have a big lead, I guess you can afford to try to jam it into double coverage. But this was not a good decision by Mark Rippon to throw this ball to Gary Clark. Steve Atwater was in by far and away the best position of any one of the 3. That's a ball that you're just not going to complete.
3rd down and 7. Desmond Howard is in the game. Number 80. Rippon looks in that direction and then shovels it over to Ernest Viner, and he seeks that 1st down. Appears to be a little short.
Would be my inclination as well to agree with you, Al. I think he's short.
And it might be a point where Joe Gibbs will say, well, let's go for it. We're in control of this football game. Let's go on 4th and short. We're running the football well. They're controlling the line of scrimmage. After thinking all those things over, Joe Gibbs, let's punt it.
Well, he figures, I mean, if anything's going to give the Broncos a lift at this point, it would be to stop in midfield. And he doesn't want to give them the opportunity to have that lift.
One thing about this RFK crowd, they are so into the game, and they are so quick to express their displeasure. There aren't many stadiums in this country where with a 24-3 lead, they'll boo a coach's decision. And you heard pretty robust booing of Gibbs' decision to punt the ball.
Tough town.
He told us today, if I do something wrong, I'm going to hear about it.
I think in an election year, everyone's nerves are a little frayed in Washington. Maybe that's it.
It's a little nervous around this city, isn't it?
Maybe that wouldn't happen in a non-election year.
Not.
It happens here all the time.
Some people walking on eggs here in Washington.
The light shines brightly in D.C. as far as the Redskins
Delay
are
of
concerned.
game, offense, 5 yards, still 4th down.
That was a situation where they really weren't trying to get the Broncos to jump off side or anything. They just came out late.
It didn't really
well,
hurt.
yeah, at this point, you know, you're near midfield anyway.
Might even take away the risk of putting it into the end zone and bringing it out to the 20. Now maybe they can get it inside the 20.
Woodburn's kick. It's the straightaway center field, and Arthur Marshall brings it back out to the 22-yard line. With 11 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter at RFK Stadium in Boston College, Penn State, Auburn against Florida early. Those of you in the West, UCLA, Washington State is your first game. Second half of the doubleheader, Alabama, Tennessee, Michigan, Indiana in the East, South, and Midwest. And out West, Cal USC is your second game this Saturday. ABC's college football coming your way. 21-yard line, Denver takes over after the punt, 11:08 to go in the 3rd. Elway, the short drop, the quick pass, and that is simply dropped by Derek Russell.
Now, let me get this straight. You're doing the USC game?
USC against Cal. Yes, sir.
So I can get that, even though that's not shown at my Adobe.
That's correct.
I can call and get that on pay-per-view.
You can call your cable operator.
And I intend to.
Well, I think I'll get another one. I don't think I'm going to get the one Al's doing. I've got to listen to this guy every Monday night.
Turn the sound down to play clown.
Oh, Al, you know I'm kidding, Al. You know I'm kidding.
Second and 10 at the 21. Victor Jones is in there to block and also to receive. And he takes it back at the line of scrimmage. Escapes Stokes. Hey, nice move by Victor Jones out to the 25-yard line. Stopped by Tim Johnson, third year back out of LSU. Here's a guy really on the bubble because they're going to get Sammy Smith, the guy they picked up from Miami in the Bobby Humphrey deal, back probably next week.
Sammy Smith pulled a groin in the early preseason, played in only one preseason game, and there he is, standing in the back with the cap on. And, of course, even trade for Bobby Humphrey has been very productive now for the Miami Dolphins, and Sammy Smith has had that lingering groin problem.
On third down and long, Elway rifles it through Shannon Sharp's hands, and Mike Horan will make yet another appearance for Denver.
I think that ball, which was poorly thrown by John Elway, is just reflective of the hammering he's been taking. And he just had to hurry it. He could see out of the corner of his eye he was going to get it again. Stepped in the pocket. He doesn't think he has that much time. Stokes is pressuring, and he just overthrows it.
Mike Horan getting ready to punt for the 7th time. Fair catch is called for, and then Mitchell lets it go. And at the 37-yard line, the Redskins come out to take over offensively. 39-yard boot.
Oh, you looked scarier 25 years ago.
Did I?
You looked scared.
I don't know. I thought I hit it well for an innocent groom.
You were innocent for the 60s.
Any regrets?
None. You?
Just one. That I waited 25 years to give you this.
The 25th anniversary diamond, a brilliant celebration of a loving marriage.
I've got goosebumps.
Well, you've given me goosebumps for 25 years.
Here I am, a pillar of the community. And I love Kellogg's Frosted Flakes.
Brave adults challenge the notion that Frosted Flakes is just a kid's cereal.
In business meetings, I look around and wonder, am I the only one?
Those sweet, crunchy flakes and a splash of cold milk. What could an adult like better for breakfast?
I'm crazy about the taste. Hey, I got nothing to hide.
It's easy to see. Frosted Flakes have the taste adults have grown to love. They're great.
It's the Pittsburgh party. The Steelers get to test the Bengals' big fight. Division rivals tango here on Monday night.
Funny the way things turn around. Philadelphia looked so good last week. Washington loses to Phoenix. Now Philly loses. Washington on their way to a win. Philly comes in here next Sunday. They could be tied with a Washington win.
Yeah, you're right. Not only that, and this makes Denver what now? If they go ahead and lose this game, makes them 0-2 against the NFC East. And down the road, they still have to play the Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not sure after this experience they're going to want too much to do with this conference, this division, really.
You know, you'd like to look and say there's something that Denver can do tonight, and seemingly there's nothing.
Irvin's tackled by Atwater, but now you've got the way people figured it, a big three-team race in the NFC East. Dallas, a winner yesterday, rebounding after the loss. And Dallas still has to come in here.
It's clearly, I think, in my mind, the dominant division in the National Football League. And when you analyze the strength of the three teams that are, I think, contesting for the championship in the NFC East, you have to look at one of those three teams as going to certain representative in the NFC Championship game. And
you know, the Giants had a big one yesterday against the Cardinals also. Rodney Hampton with a huge day. And they beat the team that beat the Redskins.
Here's Irvins again, and he has a first down as he gets Whacked at the 49-yard line, and a marker is down. Dennis Smith in on the hit.
You mind if I get that in there, do you, Dan? I mean, they're getting beat up on so much. Yeah, but they played well against the Cardinals yesterday.
Face mask, 5-yard penalty, number 49 defense, 5 yards, tacked on from the end of the run, first down.
Dennis Smith coming in again high. Could have been called for this, as a matter of fact, was earlier. But it's kind of hard to hit Ricky Irvin's low.
Redskins at the Broncos 45-yard line. 9:03 to go in the third. 24-3 Washington. Irvin picking up 2. I'm curious, what do you guys think about the Deion Sanders thing? It's to me, it's a little strange. He's taking a lot of heat in certain quarters about it. It's a pretty amazing accomplishment when you think about it.
Well, it's amazing to have that much athletic ability and to be able to excel in 2 sports the way he does. Frank and I were talking about it earlier. From a baseball standpoint, I don't think people come and go all the time in baseball, and I don't think it's a distraction at all. But in football, it is such a team-oriented game. If there is a distraction, it would occur with the Falcons, not with the Braves.
Art Monk gets tackled by Kroll.
I mean, you hear football coaches constantly talk about wanting to avoid distractions, doing everything they can do to keep their team focused. That has to be difficult for the Atlanta Falcons with, you know, Deion Gate, his coming and his going and not practicing and playing. I don't think it's something to be angry about, but I think it's a question mark.
Speaking of team players, here's one there, Art Monk. And he is also one of those players who was there all the time. We talked about Martin Mayhew, but Art Monk getting ever so closer to Steve Largent.
Yep. 3 to tie. He's got 3 catches tonight. 816 for his career. On 3rd down and 5, Rippon going deep for nobody. Monk broke his pattern off. Sanders was at about the 22-yard line, and the pass landed at the 5. And there is one Charlie Taylor, the wide receivers coach. Taylor, between 1975 and 1984, was the all-time leader in receptions. And Ray Berry was another man who at one point was #1 on that list. Those were the years he played, but between 64 and 72, he was the leader in reception.
Yes, he took New England to the Super Bowl where they were beaten by the Bears in the '85 season. Now back in his first year as quarterback coach and reunited with Danny Reeves, whom he coached years ago with the Dallas Cowboys.
Kelly Goodburn's kick is a short one. A fair catch is called for. A flag is thrown up at the 35-yard line. Arthur Marshall with the fair catch. Gordon McCarter will tell us who goofed.
I would be wondering, going back to Deion Sanders for a moment, what the players themselves, I haven't read or heard that much about it. What about the cornerback who takes all the reps during the week, works out there, Deion's not around, doesn't come in, comes in, and he starts the cornerback. I think, again, as Dan said, this is a team sport, and there has to be, even though maybe they're not talking about it, there's got to be some feelings underneath, and that has to be affecting Atlanta. That really is off to a very poor start.
Let's get the call from the
holding during the kick. Number 49 receiving team. Half the distance penalty in the dead ball spot. First down.
Another penalty on Dennis Smith. Pick up the discussion when we come back. 7:22 remaining in the third. 3-touchdown lead for Washington.
You're right. Ford does build in toughness. But we also build in things that help you drive safely. 4-wheel anti-lock brakes are standard on Explorer and Bronco.
Built-in child seats are available on Aerostar, and both Aerostar and Club Wagon offer driver's side airbags. Ford builds tough trucks.
But we also build long-term relationships.
The best-built, best-selling American trucks are built Ford tough.
Guess what famous motor oil is changing its bottle from white to green? Here's a little hint.
Quaker State, Quaker State, Quaker State, Quaker State, Quaker State is one tough motor oil.
Quaker steak. Same tough oil, new green bottle.
Candyman.
Say his name
Candyman.
5 times.
Candyman.
Candyman.
We dare you. Candyman, rated R. Starts Friday at a theater near you.
Okay, so these guys may know a little more than we do about Bud. It's the rice.
It's the hops.
It's the rice. But of course, we know a lot about other things. Hi, can I buy you something to drink? Yeah, like maybe a light beer? Or maybe you'd like a Bud.
Someday, boy, you're gonna learn from your mistakes.
A Sunday drive with Harry and Sally.
So you're saying that a man can be friends with a woman he finds unattractive?
No, you pretty much want to nail him, too.
When Harry Met Sally, Sunday.
Washington. There's that old series, Washington, Behind Closed Doors.
Oh, beautiful city, though. Yep.
The doors have been closed to the Denver Broncos tonight. 75 total yards.
2.1 yards per play. Elway almost has that picked off, and it was only not picked off because Al Boyd Mays didn't see it until the last instant.
And Elway banged to the turf again.
Put that 2.1 yards per play into perspective. The average rush in the league is 4.0. Rush.
Mays really with just an instinctive reaction when he turns back around and the ball glances off his right hand. Listen to the crowd here at RFK, though. They're not happy with the score as it is, eh? They want this drubbing to get worse.
2nd and 10. Elway has that
and
one picked off. Kurt Gouveia.
Boy, and it did, too. Did this crowd sense that Gouveia was going to intercept that ball or what? I mean, why on that particular play did the crowd noise escalate like that? Yep. And then he intercepts the ball.
As he did in the Super Bowl. That was very similar to the intercept on Kelly.
And in each of the playoff games a year ago, no one had ever done that. He has great speed. He's not big, and there was a question whether he'd work out as a middle linebacker. He's only about 225, but he has great speed even tonight playing on a very sore ankle.
They're trying to hit Derek Russell, and Gouveia appears to be visible. And John Elway just makes a very poor throw. And you got to sympathize with Elway, not offering excuses for him, but he's the driver of a car that has no chance of winning this race.
1st and goal. Trying to slice through. Biner and Dennis Smith comes up to stop him short of the goal line.
There's old Mo getting a little taste of what it's like here in the NFL. Again, a reminder, Mo Elanowibi is playing left tackle because the great Jim Lachey sprained a knee in the first half and won't be back. Mo, who's been around for a while, but has not played. This is his first NFL game?
Yep. He hasn't missed many meals. He goes about 310.
Doesn't everybody on the offensive line these days?
2nd and goal. Ripping again. Touchdown. He scored twice tonight.
And old Mo's going to drag him up. Get him, Mo. Easy there, Big Mo. Easy. That's a $3 million man you're whooping on down there.
It's been a remarkable job they've done offensively with that makeshift line. Raleigh McKenzie in the center for Bostic. Jacoby coming from tackle to left guard. Well, and now Lachey on the bench. Elanowibi in there.
I'm a little prejudiced. They're well coached.
Jim Hannafin. Yep. Your old mentor.
Great friend is the Redskin offensive line coach, and he has had to do some overtime with this group.
He's going to lose some of that white hair if he doesn't pick up a few extra bodies, because he is down to the last body.
Well, they need Lachey to come back. Jim Hannafin, the former head coach of the St. Louis Cardinals, and I coached for 10 years of the 13 years I was fortunate enough to play in this league, and one of the NFL's great people.
I played against him as an All-American end at the University of California.
He's quick to remind me that when he was a senior at Cal, he led the nation in receiving. He was a tight end and had more catches than any other tight end in college, any other receiver. And the only thing I can assume was that must have been a horrible year.
They were 1-9.
Introducing Ford Taurus and Cats and Dogs. Taurus offers dual airbags and anti-lock brakes, perfect for when it's raining cats and dogs. You might say the idea jumped out at us. Ford Taurus.
We built this business.
He was wearing those night vision goggles they make. Otherwise, he never could have seen me. Rescued me.
Built this business.
They taught me computer drafting. I earned a degree. Now I've got a job.
They make the parts that connect my pacemaker. Never thought I'd be around to tell you that.
We built this business to build your dreams.
I saw the debate last night, and I just got one conclusion. It's all George Bush.
I still have a lot of confidence in my president. I feel we need Bush to keep us from a big spending Congress.
I don't trust him.
The man says one thing and does another.
First he denies it, and then he says, well, maybe it happened. You can't trust him.
Clinton gets in, what we're going to see are warranties.
One thing that's got me definitely for Bush is I remember what happened the last time we did things the way Bill Clinton wants to do them.
All 4 Escort LX models equipped with air conditioning, AM/FM stereo, power steering, and more. Now share the same low price of just $10,499. 4 Escorts, one price. It's that easy.
Alabama invades Tennessee. Michigan beats Indiana. Or out west, Cal takes on USC. It's game 2 of an ABC college football doubleheader Saturday.
For those of you who missed the latest Victoria's Secret catalog,
the Hogettes.
All is well once again.
Oh, who's this interloper here?
Lohmiller kicks, fielded at the 2-yard line by Arthur Marshall. And he runs into Reggie Rivers, his teammate, along with Bowles, the Redskin, there to make the tackle with 6:13 remaining in the third quarter. Well, the Hogs, they, of course, represent the nickname given several years ago to Washington's offensive front, which leads us to this week's animation. And there are the Hogs. In 1982, the average weight, 272 pounds, highest in the NFL.
Keith Jackson ought to be doing that.
Oh, yeah. And now, 290 pounds is 15th in the league.
The Hogs from Point Mesa.
Elway.
A 290-pound average is good for 15th in the league.
That's what it is these days. Derek Russell makes the catch.
Just an indication as to how over the years the size of offensive linemen. And here's an illustration of that. Look at that. Back in 1942, and it goes by 10-year increments. 220, 234, 247, 253. But look at the jump in the last 20 years from 253 to 290.
What was your playing weight, Dan? 72?
290, 295.
Second down and 1. Well, in the interest of honesty, a lot of people will look at that and say, what effect did steroids have through the years on those numbers?
And I think it's a good question to ask, but right now the NFL is the only professional league that random tests. And there have obviously been, some of them have been involved in steroids, but today, they can go down, they can be suspended, and if it's going on, they are very careful. They're covering it in so many sophisticated ways that we know they can do. But I think it's been remarkably reduced in the NFL.
Third down and 3 at the 29-yard line. Elway to Shannon Sharp, and a first down for Denver. And I say that with some surprise in my voice because it's been a while since the Broncos have picked up a first down.
More and more we're impressed with Shannon Sharp. He's become the go-to guy, the deep guy, the short guy, and just about everything Denver has going for him at the moment as far as receivers are concerned.
After this play out, let's get back onto the steroid thing again, because I think we ought to finish that up a little bit.
That was only the 4th first down for the Broncos tonight. They trail 31-3. very few people better than a former All-Pro offensive lineman is more qualified to discuss it, Dan.
Oh, and I think certainly that there has been steroid use and abuse in the National Football League. And there are probably players today that are on steroids and are somehow avoiding detection. Now, I am confident, not being a proponent of the league's policy in any way, there are fewer players on steroids now than there have been over the years. If you were to lay one reason on the line as to why guys are so much bigger, it's the improvement in weight training. There is still steroid abuse, but it's weight training more than anything else. Kids are lifting now when they're 10 and 12 years old. When I was in college, back in the late 60s, our weight room was, by today's standards, non-existent. Nobody lifted weights. And you can see the trends. Back the heaviest offensive line in '82 was the Redskins at 272. And 10 years later, the lightest offensive line is 2 pounds heavier.
Sometimes that offensive line might reflect the various offenses, too, of the teams involved. San Francisco was very sophisticated, a lot of movement of their offensive line. 3rd down and 9 as Elway gets sacked again. Wilbur Marshall. Two first-round choices may have been cheap.
Well, big-time players always seem to crank it up under the lights. Wilbur Marshall is no exception.
And again, it was Stokes who actually beat Russell Freeman, the left tackle, that flushed Elway out into the arms of Wilbur Marshall.
Well, John Elway has made a career of making linebackers look foolish who tried to chase him. John Elway in his prime would not run away from Wilbur Marshall.
Moran's kick. Bounces out of bounds. Well, Wilbur Marshall tonight has a sack, an interception, a forced fumble, a pass deflection, a touchdown, and 6 tackles. Outside of that, he's had the night off.
And he has a deep thigh bruise.
What'll it be, Phyllis?
Make it a Bud Light.
Sorry. This is the last one.
Well, I think I can take that one.
What do you want to give for it? I'm a 2 and a 10. Give me 10, a 20 big. Give me 20 now, 30. Give me 30 now, 40 big. Give me 40 now, 50. Give me 50 now, 60 big. Give me 60 now, 70. Give me 70 now, 80.
If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Bud Light, please. Sorry, boys. This is the last one.
This Magnavox portable CD player with pure digital sound is the best thing to take on vacation. Unless you compare it with this clever Magnavox 5-inch TV. Great pictures of anywhere. The best is this compact yet intelligent Magnavox camcorder with autofocus. Unless you take this Magnavox 3-inch LCD TV, which connects to my camcorder, so I can watch my vacation on the ride home. Looks as though I had a pretty good time.
The ingenious products from Magnavox. Smart. Very smart.
Imagine a rent-a-car company that offers special delivery right to your door. That's Enterprise.
Here, let me help you.
Enterprise, a special rent-a-car company that gives you special delivery.
Everybody wants a battery that goes the distance, but you never know when they're about to run out of gas. Only Duracell has the Copper Top Battery Tester, so you can be sure your batteries will keep going down the road. You can't top the Copper Top.
That's our lineup Wednesday night, primetime on ABC. The Wonder Years, Doogie Howser, then Home Improvement with Tim Allen, pictured. Laurie Hill and Civil Wars. Your night, Wednesday night, primetime on ABC. Next Monday, we go to Pittsburgh. Three River Stadium will be the scene as the Bengals come into the Steel City to face the Steelers on Monday Night Football. Redskins 31, Broncos 3. First down, Washington at the 37-yard line. Irvin picks up a couple of yards. 2nd and 8. Art Monk, well, he's the only drama really left in this one tonight. Can he catch Largent tonight? He's going to catch him sooner or later. 3 catches tonight for a total of 19 yards. Needs 3 to tie, 4 to break.
I would say to have a chance because he represents the conservative high percentage pass. He works primarily underneath and he might be the man who would get the call as Washington tries to play ball control football.
Let's be realistic. We hope he gets it.
Yeah. They give it to Irvin. You always want to be a part of history. Ron Holmes makes the tackle. You know, we had mentioned before certain people, and two of whom are in the stadium tonight, Berry and Taylor, who've led through the years. See, Don Hudson was the all-time leader between 1939 and 63, then Billy Houghton for a year, then Berry had it for 8 years, and Don Maynard, the former Jet, was the leader for 3. Taylor held the mark for 9. Charlie Joyner for 3. Largent eclipsed Joyner in 87. And, of course, it's going to be Monk's name up there from 92 and beyond.
Did you know that you saw Don Maynard there, who was the leader from 72 to 75?
Dump off to Irvin. And he first down as he takes it to the 45-yard line of the Broncos, tackled by Henderson.
Fine play by Rippon.
Don Maynard, I think most people forgot this, actually was a teammate of mine in St. Louis.
Teammate of mine with the Giants.
That's right. He left the Jets and came to the Cardinals, where he was hardly utilized.
He left the Giants to go to the Titans, who turned into the Jets. And, of course, he's in the Hall of Fame. We made a great cut.
Well, you think of him catching almost all of his passes from Namath, probably a couple from Jim Hart.
Right.
44-yard line.
I think more from Namath.
A couple. Irvin, hard yard. Here comes the flag. Final minute of the third quarter. McCarter tells us it is a hold against the Redskins.
You know, think of the people that held that record. Steve Largent, to me, is amazing. He has never played on a great football team. Never, I don't want to offend anyone, but never really played with a great quarterback. He wasn't fast.
Jim Zorn just fell off his couch.
Holding, number 66, offense. 10 yards, repeat first down.
Craig fell off his couch, too.
No, but I mean, one of the all-time greats, you would think it would be the kind of quarterback that would put up those numbers, like Joe Namath to Don Maynard. And again, he didn't have the great speed. He just had a remarkable career.
Yeah, you think of combinations like Unitas to Berry and people like that.
That's what I'm saying.
First and 20. Biner picks up a couple, and that figures to be the final play of the third quarter. The quarter dominated by the Redskins, the entire game dominated by the Redskins, who are on their way to a 3-2 mark.
All right, brace yourself. John Elway is moving into the fourth quarter.
Yep, Dan smells overtime. End of 3. Redskins 31, Broncos 3.
I smell something.
We'll return with Monday Night Football after this word from our ABC station.
Years ago,
the far west,
looking at Khrushchev, Kennedy, Castro, one step away. Peter Jennings, what the world didn't know, Saturday.
On the happy island of Gentilly,
Be cool. I don't want to be cool.
love is in the air.
Mr. Davis,
Going to extremes, Tuesday.
come back here.
Would somebody get a hacksaw and cut this stupid handcuff from off this pervert?
As Vermont's auditor, Vermonters will be my customers. I'll cut waste, save your tax dollars, and make government work for you. If you're not happy, I'm not.
If you want the best there is, you go to a specialist, someone who knows the field, knows your needs. Now, if you're shopping for a minivan, you want the specialist at the Dodge Minivan store. They know more about minivans because Caravan is America's bestseller, outselling all other minivans. And because there are so many Caravan styles to choose from, just tell the specialist your needs. They'll do the rest. Only at your nearest Dodge dealer, the Minivan store.
Just think that little dog was cute. I mean, I loved that movie. It was so uplifting, wasn't it? What?
I don't know.
Why?
Oh, that poor man.
Huh?
I felt so bad for him, trying to solve all those problems, get more customers, save more money for us. He is supposed to be able to do everything, solve all of the company's problems. Oh, that's a laugh.
Leave your job at work.
Use New England Telephone to help solve your business problems.
Married with Children, weeknights at midnight on WVNY TV.
Man in the center of your picture there is Tommy Maddox, suppressing, not even suppressing, just yawning, period. Former UCLA quarterback, and, well, he'd be the youngest player in the NFL in 4.5 decades to throw a pass if he gets in tonight. He's always backed up and the probable Denver quarterback of the future.
He's been watching. He probably doesn't want to get in.
I was going to say, he doesn't seem to think that his insertion into this game is imminent.
Fourth quarter begins with Biner taking it across the 50, but there's a marker down. And here are the numbers, quite depressing for Denver through 3 quarters of play. As we said, coming into the game, even though they were 4-1, they'd been outgained about 100 yards per game. And tonight they're just getting beaten every phase.
Those are the Philadelphia numbers that cost them a 30-0 loss. John Elway struggling in that game. 8 for 18 for 59 yards.
Goodyear blimp, Spirit of Akron. There it is in the night sky over RFK Stadium, providing the scenics. 3rd down and 15 after the penalty, back to the 49-yard line. Ernest Biner stays in the block, ripping on a roll, buying time, airing it out, looking for Art Monk, and that's knocked down at the last moment by Wyman Henderson at the goal line.
Well, Art Monk was also giving an assist. He could see that he wasn't going to get that football. He was going to make sure that Henderson didn't either.
Well, it takes so long for Mark Rippon to roll as far as he rolled to the sideline that even if the coverage is poor at the start, and this time it wasn't by Henderson, you're still going to have time to react back to it.
You see Monk knocking that away, though?
Hey! Kelly Goodburn to kick. Touched by Mitchell at the 15-yard line with 14 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. It seemed like an eternity to the Denver Broncos as they trail by 28.
Well, it's here. Time for me to step down and retire as chairman of Chrysler. And hey, anybody that goes out wants to go out with a bang. And we've got a bang that'll be heard from Germany to Japan. It's a new car design that's as revolutionary as our minivan was. It's going to change the way cars are designed from now on. We call it cab forward. What we did was move the windshield forward. Then we pulled the rear wheels back. Made the rear doors wider and easier to get through, and increased the width. Believe me, this does more than just improve the looks. It gives you a lot more room inside, it rides better, and it's easier to handle. I think cab forward, like our minivan, is going to get copied by everybody. It has to, just because it makes so much sense. You know, I got to tell you, when it's your last turn at bat, it sure is nice to hit a home run.
Who are you going to call the most this month?
Most? Good question.
Isabel. With Sprint's new program, The Most, first, you get 20% off whoever you call the most each month. Second, you get 20% off calls to any of the millions of other Sprint customers automatically.
A special announcement from Sprint. An independent consumer group has announced that of unrestricted plans, The Most from Sprint often offers the best savings with the fewest restrictions.
Full moon over D.C., and as we pull back into the foreground comes the Iwo Jima Memorial. Beautiful shot.
Spectacular. And if you've never been there and you have an opportunity to come to Washington, that's a beautiful setting in kind of a little garden area. It is spectacular.
Well, RFK Stadium tonight, pretty much rocking, but right now just a lot of satisfaction as their Redskins lead 31-3. Elway on first down hits Shannon Sharp. And Sharp takes his way up to the 35-yard line where he's tackled by Brad Edwards.
He has been a real bright spot tonight for Denver. One of very few.
He had 9 receptions last week, Dan, and he's collected a lot tonight.
He had 16 coming into the game tonight.
That is Denver's longest play of the night. Until that moment, their longest play of the night, pass or run, was 12 yards. That one was good for 21. First down at the 36. Elway throwing an out to Russell, and Russell is banged out by Brad Edwards.
He was really banged by Brad Edwards.
And well, it should become a little easier for John to get the completions underneath as the Redskins start to think more and more, let's don't give up the big one.
It wouldn't be realistic to expect the Redskins to be playing with the same tenacity that they've played with in the first 3 quarters.
Or even tactically.
First and 10 at the 45. Elway, too high for Sharp. Covered by Danny Copeland. Broncos go home after the game. And they continue on against Houston. Tough team, of course, but they do play them in Mile High Stadium, where Dan Reeves' team has been inordinately tough through the years.
Then they go to San Diego, and then they get a bye week.
Yep. And then later we get to see them again against Seattle.
Yep.
November the 30th.
Meanwhile, Washington stays here. They get Philly here, and then they go to Minnesota. So this is the first of 3 big ones for the Redskins.
3 division leaders in 3 weeks.
Yeah. And tonight, they pretty much answered the skeptics who thought that the Redskins were a team that might be on the verge of changeover. It's an older team. It's a team that some people thought may have peaked last year. Some people thought would be on the downside this year.
It's been a mystery to Joe Gibbs, though. He told us that he's never had an off-season like this as a Redskins head coach. In 11 years, he had could look around in the training room. 70, 75 guys were in there during the off-season. And nothing ever came quite into sync, and he can't blame it, as he said, on Rippon just being a holdout.
3rd and 10, and that's broken up at the 35-yard line by Martin Mayhew.
Richie Pettibone said something interesting to me tonight. He said, we look back on last year, he said, it was almost like somebody up there in that other world had won the office pool on us. Nothing we did went wrong. Everything worked for us. Nobody got hurt. A dream year, as he put it last year.
Well, as Charlie Casserly, the GM, said, it was one of the great years ever. They only lost 1 game that meant anything, the one to Dallas. The other loss was a meaningless end-of-season loss to Philadelphia. Elway gets sacked, and that pretty much is the exclamation point on tonight's game.
Monty Coleman.
Quick look at Richie Pettibone, admiring the handiwork that he laid out for the defensive unit, this team, in his 15th year, and nobody suffers like this man, Dan Reeves, either.
One of these engines was filled with Castrol Syntec, a new synthetic oil. The rest with conventional oils. They were then drained and started without oil to prove a point. You see, Syntec's unique molecular structure bonds to engine parts. That tests show it leaves a layer of protection far stronger than conventional oil. And if Syntec protects this well now, imagine if you leave it in. Castrol Syntec protects in ways other oils can't.
Drop into a Dodge dealer now, and you can get a Ram 150 pickup with over $2,600 in package savings, plus $1,500 cash back. Or get a Cummins diesel and get $500 cash back. $500. That's something Dodge hardly ever drops on diesel pickups. It's the National Dodge Truck Sale, now arriving at a Dodge dealer near you.
I'm a real wild one, wild one.
comes the clean, fresh taste that won't fill you up and never let you down.
Last stop, Southport.
Bud Light delivers.
In the AFC Central, nothing comes easy. The Cincinnati Bengals roar into Pittsburgh to battle the Steelers next week on ABC's Monday Night Football.
Washington Redskins on top 31-3 with 13-14 remaining. Skins take over at the 44, and Ernest Biner plows ahead for a gain of 6 where he's tackled by Michael Brooks. And they are warming up young Maddox, who still had eligibility remaining at UCLA and would have been quarterbacking the Bruins this year. And he very well may indeed become the first or the youngest quarterback to throw a pass in the NFL since 1946. So stay tuned.
Well, it'll be less than looking at him. Just idea would be to keep John Elway healthy.
2nd and 4. Ernest Biner.
Since 1946, he would be the youngest quarterback ever to throw a pass? Now, what if he only hands off? Would he also be the youngest quarterback to hand off in the NFL?
We are going to go through the files.
Youngest quarterback to hand off. Here it is.
Computer.
You have it, Frank, there, youngest quarterback to hand off?
Peter Hurt's working on it.
Still searching.
Let me know when you find it.
You got it.
There is one of the finest quarterbacks ever to air it out.
3rd down and 3. Rippon, will he seek Monk? Yes, he does. And Art takes it to the 20-yard line. And that's going to keep most of this crowd here. That's 4 catches tonight for Art. And he's too shy of the Largent mark.
And there is a feeling in this crowd. They are well aware of what Art Monk needs to do to make NFL history. Really, it's kind of special when somebody like an Art Monk has the kind of career he has. The ultimate team player, always there, plays hurt, and he's played hurt so many times for these Redskins. Been on the good years and the bad years, and always there, always consistent.
Biner to the 19-yard line. Second down and 8. Thing about Monk is by the time he's finished, he's liable to eclipse Largent by a lot. I mean, he's not talking about retiring, and he certainly is in tremendous shape.
And Largent is under siege by Jerry Rice as well. Jerry Rice got a touchdown yesterday. What, he's at 99 now?
Just one short of Largent's touchdown record. Lawson, of course, already by him in receiving yardage. And he looks for Clark, and Rippon throws that one out of the end zone after Clark had turned the other way on Wyman Henderson.
Wyman did a fine job, though.
Gary looks like
Gary Clark
came up limping a little bit. He's
only practiced
a little
once
ginger
this week with the hamstring pull.
I don't. Might be time for Gary to take a rest with the bad hamstring. You'd wonder what do you have to gain here with a 31-3 lead and 10 minutes left in the ball game.
And that's the way you can aggravate it too. When you're running at full speed and you collide, you bounce off a defensive back, it throws you off stride.
It's a little cool down there, and it gives this guy a chance to go out and play a little bit. Desmond Howard. I would have to think that this is probably the last drive for some of the Redskin regulars.
3rd and 8. It's a Monk in motion. The Rippon looks the other way.
That ball's in the stand.
Yeah, that falls in Alexandria, Virginia.
Gary Clark not happy. Said, I've run 2 patterns into the end zone, my man, and you have thrown it up in the stands.
I think Rippon probably is still thinking of a week ago. He is not going to throw an interception down here, even though they have this big lead, and lose the 3-point opportunity.
Well, watch how open Gary Clark comes in the end zone. This is why he's upset. I mean,
the ball's gone, though.
Look at this. Now, this is an angry man. Come on, Rip, get me the ball. I was there.
He's a competitor.
He sure is.
Here's Lohmiller for a 36-yard field goal attempt. Right down the middle. Three more for the Redskins, who now lead at 34-3.
Drop everything. Dodge B250 Ram vans now come complete with everything you need for work or play. Like air, bigger tires and mirrors, power everything, and tons more. You'll get $1,000 cash back, up to $2,720 in package discounts, and save $3,720 in all during the National Dodge Truck Sale, now arriving at a Dodge dealer near you.
Storyboard Express wasn't saving what they'd hoped since leaving AT&T. Party Helpers Catering was having trouble getting faxes through on the first try. So like thousands of other businesses, they've come back to AT&T. And we want you back. Switch now and we'll give you credit for 1 month of long distance. And we'll pay to switch you back if you're not completely satisfied. We want you back. Call 1-800-222-0400.
Right now, you can get 2 hot Big Mac sandwiches for just $2 at McDonald's. Good thing they're so easy to build.
What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
Okay, bring in the roof. Nice. As good as this Egg McMuffin looks, we thought we'd skip ahead to the important part of the commercial. Right now, McDonald's has 2 Egg McMuffin sandwiches at breakfast for just $2.
Work on Tim's car gets stalled when Jill plays matchmaker.
I'm not going to interfere. We're just going to stay long enough for them to meet, exchange a few words, pick a pattern.
Home Improvement, Wednesday.
Denver's going to get the ball. We're going to see Tommy Maddox make his NFL debut in terms of taking a snap. He's been in as their holder.
Guarantee he's not yawning now.
Nope.
That heart rate's accelerated a bit.
Low Miller's kick. This is Alton Montgomery. A little bit of a hole. Takes it back out to the 29-yard line. 10:04 remaining in the fourth quarter. 34-3 Redskins. And we'll take a look at Tommy Maddox, their top draft choice from UCLA. Maddox working against a defense that tonight sacked Elway 5 times, recovered a fumble, picked off 2 passes, and ran 1 back for a touchdown, and has allowed 16 yards on the ground. Well, Ray Berry and John Elway. Berry is the quarterback's coach, but his project is in the game right now. Tommy Maddox. Part of what Ray does, obviously, is to bring Maddox along. And this is Gaston Green picking up a couple up to the 31-yard line. Tripped up by Gouveia. Gouveia having a big night, but he's been overshadowed by Marshall, who's having a monster night. Meanwhile, for Elway, who's done for the night, 15 of 32, so under 50% again. And those are bad numbers because that's 4 yards per pass attempt. And as we say, the league average is about 7, so, well, it speaks for itself.
Keep in mind, with the exception of Shannon Sharp, who I think was there when John needed him, precious little help from his offensive teammates. Under a constant rush, not much going for Denver.
2nd and 8, and Maddox does become the youngest quarterback to throw a pass since 46, intended for Clarence Shea and incomplete.
And guess who was in coverage? Wilbur Marshall.
Maddox had some incredible numbers as a freshman quarterback. Big, 6'4", 200-pounders. We'll probably round out to much bigger than that.
Frank, did you ever play against Elmer Angsman?
No.
All right.
Played for Detroit?
Well, at that point, he played
Cardinals.
for Chicago, the Cardinals.
And he went to Detroit.
46, and he was the youngest from 1946 until the last moment. 3rd and 8. Maddox throws it at the feet of Shannon Sharp. And 4th down. So a rather inauspicious debut for Tommy Maddox.
Charles Mann right in Maddox's face that time, pushing Ken Lanier right back into his quarterback. Those are the things they don't record. Charles Mann, Wilbur Marshall getting the big play with the sacks tonight, but Mann has been a constant pressure for the Redskins.
And he's been doing it all year. Joe Gibbs, quick to point the man, is one of the bright spots defensively.
Horan's punt. Fair catch made by Mitchell. With 9:07 remaining, that's a 42-yard boot by the Denver kicker. So a big night for the Washington defense. And again, they're minus Darrell Green, an all-pro cornerback. Tonight, they really haven't had to use A.J. Johnson with that fractured finger very much. They're really banged up. Flag on the last play.
Number 38, kicking team, illegally downfield. Penalty declined, first down.
That's Reggie Rivers. And again, they put Raven Caldwell. There would be their number 4 linebacker on injured reserve. And he had a masterful performance defensively. Gibbs, 0-2 during the regular season.
Don't forget that.
Super Bowl. Yeah. Of course, we will never forget the Super Bowl. He did see Denver and San Diego in 1980, January of 88.
XXII.
Yep.
Super Bowl 22.
27-yard line. You know, it was the amazing thing about that game, and we had touched on it before, Denver had the lead. People forget. They led 10-0. And not only that, remember, Doug Williams had been hurt early in the second quarter, came limping off. They put Jay Schrader in the game for a couple of plays, and then Williams came back, and before the second period was over, they'd scored 35 points in the quarter.
I remember us putting together some statistics, and we were doing the first half of the Super Bowl and the second half of the AFC Championship game, and the Broncos had given up something like 700 yards in offense or something like that. It was a staggering number.
Meanwhile, Robert Green, who just made his first carry of his career, makes his second. Green is a rookie from William and Mary. The significance is Green is the guy who really cost Gerald Riggs his job. When we talked to Joe Gibbs before the opener in Dallas, he said he had to make room because he wanted to keep Green, and because of that, out went Gerald Riggs.
And Robert Green, a friend of Joe Gibbs' son, J.D., a teammate of his at William and Mary, and it was on trips down there to see his son, J.D., play that Robert Green caught his eye, and that's how he got a free agent contract with the Redskins. A real made-in-America story.
3rd and 6, and they try to get another one to Monk, but it's incomplete. That would have pulled him within 1.
It wasn't hard for him to catch his eye either, because Green had over 3,500 yards, setting all kinds of records. But Joe Gibbs' other son, Coy, has emerged as a starter for Stanford, and he had a chance to, one of the rare chances he had to see one of his kids play, because I think one of his great regrets, and he told us that, not being able to watch his kids perform on the field. He flew out to watch his son perform a couple of weeks ago, and Coy had a big day for Stanford, and he was so proud. As well he should be. Better believe it.
Kelly Goodburn. Fair catch called for, made at the 37-yard line by Arthur Marshall. 7:32 remaining. Next Monday, move to Pittsburgh. Well, the Steelers had gotten off to a good start. Right now they are 3-2 after yesterday's defeat at the hands of Cleveland. And we'll see Bill Cowher's group taking on Dave Shula, the 2 young rookie coaches, matching which at Three Rivers Stadium next week. In the AFC Central, Houston has now won 4 straight after an opening day loss. Pittsburgh a game back, Cincinnati 2 behind.
Pittsburgh has their big tight end, Eric Green, back from an injury, and he should be 100% next Monday night.
Here's Gaston Green. To Tommy Maddox, flipping it to a former Bruin. 2 alumni teaming up. Some news, Boomer Esiason, we talked about him before, badly bruised left forearm, so we don't know about his status next Monday when we see the Bengals. Dan McGuire, the quarterback at Seattle, fractured left hip. He's done for the season, so Kelly Stauffer is the QB. And tonight, the Cowboys, it was rumored that Wright was on the block, and he goes to the Raiders. Alexander Wright, one of several receivers for Jimmy Johnson. Of course, they have Michael Irvin and Alvin Harper, and Wright became expendable, so he goes to L.A. And the pass is incomplete off the fingertips of Vance Johnson, one of the three amigos to whom we referred before, with Jackson and Johnson remaining. Vance tore a pectoral muscle, had shoulder surgery before the season, came back last week off injured reserve. He's caught one pass thus far this season, but it won the game last week.
Well, that was a well-thrown ball there by
Sure
the young quarterback, Compton. He threw it over the underneath man and in front of the deep man, and he hit the receiver right on stride. He should have caught the ball. Take a look at this. Watch Vance Johnson. No deflection, right in the hands. A little distracting, but that comes from being out so long and being a little bit rusty, because he has good hands.
3rd and 4. That's too high and behind the intended receiver, Mark Jackson. A.J. Johnson in on the coverage. And it will be 4th down.
Kind of like a quarterback Tommy Maddox comes in there and stands tall and delivers that kind of a football. Well, he does look young, doesn't he? He sure.
Well, he's 21 years, 1 month.
I bet he's the youngest quarterback to play for a while, isn't he?
Look at me repeat the play to himself coming up to the center. That's a guess.
No, I think he's mumbling, please don't hit me.
4th and 4.
Wilbur Marshall.
Here's Sharp. And that's the 1st down. He takes it to the Skins' 48-yard line. And here's Reeves. You'll notice tonight Reeves sending in the plays. You'll recall last year for some time Elway called his own plays. By the end of the year, it was a combination of Elway and Reeves sending them in. And John went to Reeves before the season and said, okay, you call them again. But Reeves did tell us last night that if Elway says in the future he wants to call his own plays, he said, I'll be more than happy to give it back to him.
Fully expecting, I believe, that he won't get it back.
Maddox drops it off underneath, showing a lot of poise there. And Shannon Sharp with the reception.
Shannon gives up a couple of yards and trying to make something happen, but good alertness by Tommy Maddox. He has delivered the ball accurately, moves around well, and that was a very heads-up alert play, finding Sharp on the other side of the line.
And that's 9 receptions tonight while nobody's been looking for Shannon Sharp, and that's 2 weeks in a row he's caught 9. Of course, tonight 9 for 71 yards, less than 8 yards per reception. Throw to Rivers, and nothing cooking.
Just a quick guess. I would say Shannon Sharp might be within a Denver Bronco record. Receptions per game. He's got 5 more minutes, and he has been the go-to guy. That'll start shaking things up down there, won't it? Dig around in the record book.
Third down and 10 at the 47-yard line.
That's a good shot. Oh, there we go, Craig.
Yeah.
Nope. Hey, this way.
You could see easily there was nobody there.
Well, Frank, you asked, and you shall receive. Most receptions in a game by a Denver Bronco, 11. Steve Watson against Pittsburgh, 1984. Another reason to stay tuned.
Well, it's rather riveting, as a matter of fact, keeping our eye on Shannon and hoping for the best for Art Monk.
Yep. I'm riveted. It would be nice to see Art Monk get the record. Yep.
4th down and 10. And that pass is a terrible pass. The Sharp has been open, and it's picked off at the 30-yard line by Sidney Johnson. Sharp was wide open for what would have been catch number 10. Instead, it's interception number 1 for Maddox.
That was a terrible pass to Maddox. He had Sharp wide open. The Redskins laying off, making sure they didn't get a deep ball on them, and he was wide open and just flat overthrew it into the arms of Sidney Johnson.
Dan, I just want you to be the first to know that Maddox has become the youngest quarterback since 1946 to throw an interception.
Have you researched that?
Yes.
Since 1946, huh?
Elmer Angsman.
I thought he was the one who
threw the pass. Maybe Elmer didn't throw the interception.
Yeah, Al, are you sure of that?
I don't know.
Just tossing that out.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
I always prided myself on accuracy. I'm in trouble now. Here's Monk making the catch, so he's within one.
This crowd that remains, they are well aware of where Art Monk is. I think we're going to see him go for it, too.
Yeah. And that grass in Art Monk's helmet is symbolic of the type of work that he's done over the years. This is the guy that doesn't run the spectacular patterns. He's not the guy that gets the streak down the sidelines more often than not. That goes to Sanders and Clark. He's the workmanlike guy over the middle.
They're looking for him. And the pass is caught by Monk. He ties Largent and does it by taking it to the Denver 35-yard line.
And the Redskins and Joe Gibbs well aware of what he needed. The game well in hand, and he's going. What a memorable moment.
They're going to give him the ball.
Oh, yeah. They give him the next one, too. And
Redskins are almost acting like they think this broke the record.
And get ready, Canton, Ohio, also.
Well, they now know he's tied, and it's up on the board here that he has just tied Largent's mark.
And our congratulations, too, to Steve Largent once again.
Here's Monk now, set out on a wing to the left. And in motion, and all eyes are on number 81, including Rippon.
There it is.
There's the record.
There it is.
Oh, how sweet it must be. Well, they'll take a delay of game penalty here gladly.
Could happen to a better man.
Yeah, good things do happen to good people.
Mayberry, a quick shot of him. He held that mark for a while. He knows what it's like.
Taylor, the one-time record holder. You saw Berry.
Well, you can say to your friends, you saw it live. The man who's caught more passes than any player who's ever played the game. Arthur Monk.
It's a 10-yard reception.
What a quiet, unassuming, graceful human being he is. I love the way he goes into the end zone. He takes the football in. He acts like he's been there before.
And it's great, too, because the officiating crew had a sense of the moment, and they just forget the penalty in that situation. Just let him go. First down at the 24-yard line. This is Green, the rookie. And Green dives, and he's just short. He thinks he's in, but he's not.
Got a pretty good block for Mark Monk.
23-yard gain.
Remember what we've been hearing about, well, we're just a little out of sync? Redskins are no longer out of sync. That's good running. And poor tackling.
Monk comes out.
What a man.
Some sad people that left here before this game was over. I would hate to be a Redskins season ticket holder and have left before I had a chance to see Art Monk get the record. Most have stayed, but probably 25% have left.
So the electronic montage of Art Monk, who makes 3 catches on 3 consecutive plays.
Charlie Mann with his arm around Art Monk. He's a much-loved player on this Redskins team, not only by the teammates, but by the community. A remarkable career. Great athlete in high school.
Funny, you saw Charlie Taylor, the former Arizona State star. Monk and Taylor came up similarly in their college careers, running backs / wide receivers. Charlie, a great running back at Arizona State. Monk, a running back at Syracuse. And each, of course, makes his mark as a receiver in the NFL. And they embrace each other.
Joe Gibb showing a lot of heart to that also.
Oh, and look at this. Redskins not trying to score.
Well,
what do they think they're going to do down here?
Well, they know the game is over.
Are they going to just sit on the ball a couple times and then kick a field goal?
Apparently they are. The game is over, but it's not truly over with 2 minutes to go.
Oh, you can't draw me into your web this week.
Why not?
They already know how much you make and what you spend it on. They know your court appearances and your business dealings. They know your health history, your marital history, your credit history. Next, they'll invite themselves into your bedroom. Then again, maybe they already have. Somebody's watching. If it's important to you, you'll find it in time.
She's trapped by terrorists. Her only hope is a cook.
Oh, God, we're gonna die.
Steven Seagal, Tommy Lee Jones, an adventure that's this year's most exciting motion picture event, Under Siege, rated R, now playing at a theater near you.
I don't need some fancy cologne to tell me I'm a man. I use Skin Bracer. It smells great, but it also cools and tones my skin. Confidence is very sexy. Don't you think? Skin Bracer Aftershave.
By Menon.
There's a house whose rooms I know by heart, where children grew up and I grew old. A house where I belong.
At the Prudential, the terminally ill can collect their death benefit while they're alive, so they can afford to live out their days not in a hospital, but at home.
There's a house where I belong.
Another monument. That's perfect.
Certainly is. And he's in the middle. Sleep won't come easy to Art Monk tonight. Nor should it. He'll be getting phone calls from all across the country. Friends, relatives, former teammates, former coaches.
Well, the Redskins not pouring it on.
And they're getting booed.
They're getting booed by some people with an interest in what's going on here. 34-3. The Redskins on top. It is 3rd down and goal. Well, they're going to have to do something on 4th down. They can't completely run the clock out.
We awful to try to run the clock out and then have to kick a field goal.
Yeah. You know, you could always say, well, Gibbs should go for it because of that net points craziness. That's like the 6th tiebreaker at the end of the season, but
it's never come into play.
Yeah, Joe just doesn't want to do anything along those lines, and he's content to take his 34-3 victory.
I'm trying to figure out what motivates people to boo that decision. I mean, I'm at a loss for that.
I'm not.
Well, 2 remarkable careers for these coaches. Both of them started in 1981 with their respective teams. Danny Reeves been to 3 Super Bowls. Gibbs been to 4 Super Bowls. Difference is, of course, the Redskins have won 3 of theirs. Denver's still looking for their first one.
Half a minute to go.
So adversaries, of course, in Super Bowl 22.
Each man in his 12th season. And a great night for one and a miserable night for another. And that's going to give the ball back to the Broncos for the final play or plays of the game. You know, the Broncos, as they continue to exult on the sidelines, the Broncos had gone those 12 quarters. That's the equivalent of 3 games without a touchdown. They scored twice in the last 2 minutes to beat Kansas City. Again, no touchdowns. And in 2 visits to the NFC East, to wit, Philadelphia and Washington, they have been beaten by a composite 64-3.
And Houston coming up.
Well, at home, a big difference.
Yeah, we'll be checking them out November the 30th against Seattle.
Those coaches have to get a step ladder to get up and pound on Joe Jacoby's shoulder pad.
Reggie Rivers.
A whipping put on the Broncos tonight.
From beginning to end, and what a night. It's a night to remember for the folks who were here and those of you that saw it, as Art Monk eclipses Largent's mark. And as we said before, here's a guy, especially with people like Lofton playing into their mid to late 30s. By the time he's done, he could get 1,000.
That was Danny Reeves who put his arm around Art Monk, gave him a hug, and you know how Danny Reeves is hurting right now. Little act of class there.
Well, Art Monk has Mark Rippon to thank, Joe Theismann to thank.
Oh, what is 6 or 7 of them?
6 or 7 guys tossed him the ball.
Doug Williams.
That's it from D.C. 34-3 the final.
Sammy Baugh.
Yeah. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf. We'll talk to you next Monday from Pittsburgh.
Saturday, an ABC college football doubleheader begins at 12 noon as number 9 Penn State hosts undefeated Boston College.